Wait, did you do a movie with Robert De Niro?
I did.
Which one?
It was a family comedy called A War with Grandpa.
Yes.
And I played the father, and De Niro was my father-in-law, and Uma Thurman was my wife.
Comedy?
Comedy. Again, family comedy. And then the young man that played our son, it was a war between Grandpa and him.
And what? Just give me a little tidbit, like.
Fantastic, very cool. And I had met him before. I had done Saturday Night Live with him.
Yes.
He was the host, so I'd actually done a couple, sketches. I was lucky enough to get in on a couple sketches with him.
Right.
And always gracious, always kind to me.
What is it? What makes him so good? Like, why are we so enthralled with him?
Well, he's earned it. I mean, going back to his early days with Mean Streets and Taxi Driver, and he's done these powerful roles. He's believable in anything he does, and he can play comedy and he can play drama, and he can, and he's proven himself in almost every genre, in every decade. It's one of those things where it's like if the guy's batting, 600, you got to put him in.
I went and saw Meet the Parents in the theater. And I'm a big Ben Stiller fan.
Yeah.
I love Ben Stiller.
I love Ben Stiller too.
This would be interesting. Robert De Niro in a comedy. Yeah. He stole the whole movie.
Fantastic,
right? Because and the way that he just plays everything so serious, right?
Well, and you see his dramatic roles. You see his heavy lifting on Oscar-worthy performances.
Yeah,
and then you and I've met a lot of actors like this who are unbelievable actors, but don't get it
right.
In comedy.
Right.
They're missing it. Nowadays, more and more actors are very, very savvy about comedy and why something's funny and what the bit is and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the nice things about like a De Niro is he gets it. He gets why the scene's funny.
Who's somebody that makes you laugh?
Oh my gosh.
Who's somebody like just will bust you up? Somebody you've worked with.
Is in the stand-up world, Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
I love his storytelling. I love his tone, his tenor. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I used to love Chris Rock's cadence. Mm-hmm. There's a cadence. Mm-hmm. And for whatever, I love Chris Rock's cadence. I love Nate Bargatze's cadence. And there's just something, and of course the material's hilarious.
Nate Bargatze is very effortless.
Yeah.
You're watching him and you're going, how is he so funny? And he hasn't raised his voice.
He hasn't raised his voice. There's no, a lot of comedians, myself included, I was animated. I'm always animated because
you're gifted that way.
Well, I don't know about that, but I that's how I just usually swing the bat is in an animated fashion. And anyway, when it comes to stand-up, he cracks me up. And then comedic actors, I love them all.
Yeah,
they all have such amazing
I'm watching you in a clip from The Other Guys today, and you have to tackle Mark Wahlberg, which like
the silent fight.
Yeah,
the whisper fight. I think is what we called it.
Mark Wahlberg I think is pretty intimidating.
Yeah,
but you're also bigger than him, right? And
he's stronger than I am. Though.
He's stronger than you.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
he's a beast. He's jacked. He's jacked. He's jacked, and back then too. I mean, that was 2009. I think he was jacked.
The scene is insane, Rob. It's you, Rob Riggle, Will Ferrell, Damon Wayans Jr. is in the scene. Bobby Cannavale is in the scene.
Yeah.
Who always makes me laugh.
I love him too.
And so, like, do you remember that scene?
Absolutely, and it was so funny because
so many hitters.
It's a whisper fight. So we're having this fight, but we're not trying to disturb the family because we're at this wig or whatever. And so then. We end up on the floor wrestling as everybody kind of closes ranks, so the family can't see that this full-on fight is happening. Yeah. And I remember I got up from the wrestling match because he's a pretty aggressive guy. Like he wants to get in and do it. Yeah. It's not like, phoning it in ever with him. Yeah. So we were wrestling, and the only reason I was holding him at bay was probably because it was, he wasn't full on trying to kill me. Right. And two, I think I had weight on him. I was much heavier than he was. Yeah. So that's the only thing that was basically saving my life. But when we got up from the wrestling, I was actually winded because we did several takes and they had to reset cameras. We had to do it again and again. So I was winded, and I remember getting up and I was kind of sucking and blowing, going like this. And he made fun of me. He was like, "Is that how it goes?" And I was like, but it was part of the scene. Like he made it part of the scene, And what I find too is among the more dramatically inclined or athletes, they're not willing to look foolish. And that's why comedy is a struggle for them. Because if you want to do comedy, in my opinion, you have to be willing to look foolish. It doesn't mean you have to act like a fool, or just run into walls or do silly stuff like that. It just means you have to be willing to look stupid, incompetent, fool. You have to be willing to do that. And if you are, and if you embrace it without a wink and a nod, then you nail it.
Did you have to audition for other guys?
No.
Did you have to audition for Step Brothers?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
And then when the scene in Step Brothers, when they're talking to Will and what's his name, Adam
Scott.
Adam Scott is like, I saw this many helicopters, I got to make my nut. Yeah. And you go, boom.
Yeah, pow.
Pow, pow. Yeah, where did that come from? You just figured that
out.
We
were improvising. It was reshoots because we were reshooting. So we hadn't seen each other in like a couple months. We came back to film.
Reshoots.
Yeah, it was reshoots. And we all had so much fun improvising on that movie. You could make a whole nother movie out of what was left on the cutting room floor.
Step Brothers.
Oh my gosh. We had so much fun. We all got back together and they wanted to reshoot it because they wanted, I think, Will's character to be more assertive. Yeah. They wanted him not so passive because I think the first time we filmed it was like the wine mixer was being thrust upon him, and they wanted it to be where he was, I'm snapping necks and cashing checks. I want the mixer, give it to me. So they wanted to change their tonality. That's why we did the reshoots. Well, in the research, of course, we're all improvising again. We're just doing anything to make each other laugh. Yeah. Adam's, in the rule of improv, yes and. So Adam goes, you mess with my nut and Randy's going to eat your dick. Well, I'm his henchman, so I do whatever he says, so yes and. Like Kobayashi, and then whatever he said, because, Adam is, my boss and I'm his henchman. Anything he said, I was like, yeah, motherfucker, is what I'm thinking. You got that right. Yeah. Fucker, you listening to him, motherfucker? This is going on in my head. So, but I can't say anything. So I'm just sitting there staring at Will like I'm going to pounce over the table and kill him. Yeah. So Will's just kind of looking at me while Adam's talking, and I'm sitting there like this, shaking almost like I want to kill him. And so then whenever Adam said something, I would go, pow, just as an exclamation to whatever he said. And it made Will laugh.
It did.
It made Will was like, Jesus Christ, man.
And that's got to feel so good to make Will Ferrell laugh.
It made me super happy. And so then, Will took it on and was like, are you saying pow? What are you saying? Are you saying pow? Why does he keep doing that? And of course, because Will knows how to play a bit.
Yeah.
He knows how to play the bit.
He knows.
And he was willing to be the straight guy.
Yes, he was.
And so that's why he's so gracious. Because this is his movie.
Yes.
He could make all demands. He could be like, don't do that. I'm going to say pow or whatever it was. But he was like, no, he knew what made the thing funny was, him being the advocate for the audience and being like, why are you doing that? Why is he, but still being intimidated, he played it. He let everybody be funny. And that's why he's the best.